Why don't you give me a sign? Like the sea that leaves a trail along that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine. Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
Smell that air, dudes.
Well, this weekend just got a whole lot more interesting.
Right?
Yo, maybe she's had enough.
Maybe you should shut your mouth.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jessica, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
It's brilliant to speak to you today, Howard. How are you?
You too, Marc. I'm actually very good, Marc. Thank you. It's great to speak to you as well. I've just come from the screening of The Lid, so I had a good time.
Excellent. What was the reaction like?
Do you know, the reaction was really good. And I know I shouldn't say this type of thing, but it was a better reaction than I expected. I don't know, how do you take such a comment? But you never know what's going to work and what isn't. And it was a tough film to make and, you know, get it high. But actually, it was a full, you know, it felt like a full cinema. You know, it was like 90% full. There's a big crowd, and there was some noises in the right places. A couple of extra laughs here and there, but that was some of the outrageous dialogue that you know, we'll get to, I'm sure, with Josh the bad guy when he got more psychotic. So actually, when I left the cinema, some people sort of stopped me and said, "Oh, you know, that was so entertaining. We had such a good time." And I said, "Well, what about those bits when you kind of laugh?" People are like, "Oh no, it was so outrageous. We just had to laugh, but it was great." So very good. And I had a few more down the street, and even when I got to the hotel, happened a bit more. So I was feeling very good about that. Those are nice moments. That direct feedback is really appreciated.
Yeah, excellent. Awesome. Yeah, because you're up in Glasgow at the moment, aren't you?
In Glasgow, and I have to fly back tomorrow morning because I'm going straight to another movie. I can't even go home because we're shooting on the day The Ledge comes out in the UK, which is Monday, 14th of March. Plug there is the day I start shooting another movie. So that's never happened before. I start filming. I can't even sit at home with a beer and a download and watch the film because I'll be too busy shooting.
Yeah.
But thanks.
Well, you're an in-demand director, writer-director, so, you know.
Thank you. But it seems now suddenly some sort of momentum feels like it's happening because then I've just found out that straight after this other movie, I thought, well, I might have a couple of weeks off to relax, but there's another movie that's come up. So I don't know, something's going on.
Yeah, well, it's good to be in demand. Especially after the last 2 years that we've had.
Yeah, those 2 years. Yeah, feels like more than 2 years. Crazy
time. It does. So, if we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you to get into the industry?
Yeah, well, I suppose that I started making short films when I was 13 years old, and they were sort of cine Super 8 cameras, friends as actors, little short movies. Some of them were horror, some were just random things. Some of them were very terrible, I got to add, but we learned by our mistakes. It's a couple of defining moments. There was, let's just get this exactly right. For the horror, I remember being very impacted by seeing Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead and George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which I watched. I think now I would have been about that age, 11, 12 maybe, and my brother would have been 13, 14, very impacted by those films. And then I saw another movie. I was interested in Sergio Leone's Westerns, which I found, was really enjoying watching. And I saw this very obscure movie, which I can't find anymore, called Lost in the Desert, which was about a kid who was lost in the desert. He'd gone on a plane with his uncle and it crashed. And then he was stuck in the desert on his own with his dog or something. And anyway, it was all small scenario, but I was really impacted by these things. And somehow that meshed together. And I thought, I want to do that. And I remember seeing, sorry for the long answer, but I remember seeing behind the scenes I could just see this grainy image. I think it was a Hammer House of Horror movie. And I remember seeing, it was a Dracula thing. I don't remember which one, but I remember it cut away and you saw the dolly in the track, you saw the equipment, and I saw some young lady with a sort of clipboard, and the actor who had just seen scaring me in the movie was having a cup of tea, and I was like, whoa, there's a world behind all this stuff, because it was before social media and before, so, you know, this was the making of some movie on TV, and I was like, I want to be a part of that world. I didn't know it was a world, you know.
Yeah, awesome. So what was it about the ledge that made you want to tell this story on screen?
Well, I nearly died, very, very nearly died, because I was stuck on the side of a mountain. I'd been snowboarding, off-piste snowboarding with my brother and his girlfriend at the time. We'd been having a great time. You know, it was early in the morning. We'd been going off-piste. We didn't know where we were. We were thinking, this is going on a bit far. And then I remember hearing my board scrape on, and then literally the whole world disappeared, went between some trees. Wow, fuck. Just literally the whole world had gone, and I fell off a mountain. This is nuts. And I remember being held on. Somehow I didn't fall back, because if I'd fallen back, it was game over for sure. And I was wedged with my board on the side of the mountain. And then, you know, cut to 7 hours later, I was still there, or gradually making my way down. I didn't just think I was going to die. I knew I was going to. In my heart, it was 100% over. I was already, you know, missing my parents, already, you know, having goodbyes in my head. And it was a weird experience. And I was bizarre things. It's a longer story, this one. But basically, cut a long story short, after some time, I managed to get to the bottom through some crazy situations. And I was so impacted by that. I could divide my life in half between, you know, that moment before and after. And then a few years later, this script, let's say, landed in my lap. It came via email, actually. And I remember thinking, yeah, a mountain movie. This, when she goes up the mountain and then she's there shivering in the moments of silence, because when I thought I was going to die, it was so beautiful and so serene and so silent. You know, it would have been a very lovely death when I think about it. But so I connected those things, and the film's not about me and not about my experience. I wasn't the witness to a grisly murder. I didn't have 4 narcissistic guys sort of, you know, trying to kill me and everything. But I connected with it for that personal reason.
Right. Okay. Well, glad it had a happy ending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it. It
It's
was
got
a
to be
very
scary. It got to have been scary at the time.
horribly terrified. I have to say, there was no heroics whatsoever. I was so terrified. It was just horrible, because I thought, oh my God, I've got to go through this process, and I'm going to have to fall, and my chest is probably going to explode, and I'm going to be in bits. I don't know. It was horrid. It was just so awful. Miracle that I didn't. But there we are. I'm grateful for that too. So now I think it helped me in a funny old way, because I'm less fearful of things. I mean, obviously I don't run out in the road without looking, but I'm less fearful of situations now, because I think everything that's coming at me, I think, well, you know what? I'm lucky to be here anyway. So let me just embrace this moment.
Okay. Now, Brittany is a fantastic lead. What was it about her that made her perfect to lead the film?
Yes, no, Brittany Ashworth, great, you know, is fantastic, and I became aware of her because of the movie Hostile, which was in post-production at the time. I was sent a sort of some pieces of the film, I believe. That's a signature movie as well, and I thought she was great in that. And we met in London at the time when when we started casting for The Ledge. We just had about a half an hour meeting, central London, had a chat on a nice sunny afternoon. And she was lovely, and you know, I already knew she was very talented, and she was physical. That was a thing. You know, we needed someone. Well, that's the thing. We needed actors who were not only good actors, could play the part, but could also do and would be prepared to do some of the physical things in the ledge. And Brittany was not a climber, but she was doing a bit of, a bit of bouldering and stuff, and had some pictures of herself doing a bit of climbing, and all these things sort of go in your mind that she might be the right person for the part, and she was.
Awesome. Yeah, she's fantastic. So, as a writer, director, and producer, are there any other aspects of the film industry that you'd like to pursue?
Yeah, well, I ended up, I guess I ended up doing a little acting, which was fun. I never wanted to be an actor. I used to act in some of my short movies, and I appear every now and then. And I did a bit. Funny enough, went off and made a movie with my kids called Adventure Boys, and I enjoyed, I enjoyed a bit of the acting. I'm in that film far too much, but but I enjoyed doing it because it had my kids. And by the way, just on a side note for the climbing, I never would have had kids had I not had this near-death experience. That was one of my deals with the world. Hey, I'll go down, I'll get married, I'll have kids, I'll do all these things that I was scared of. But I'd like to do a little bit more of that someday. But to be honest with you, I just want to make films that take people on a bit of a journey. So if I'm always looking for things that I go, well, I haven't done that in a film. I haven't gone to that place. And I suppose, like harking back to the Dead in Africa, which I think partly came from this Lost in the Desert, Little Boy in the Desert. My brother and I watched this and hooked it up with zombies, all these things. So I think as long as I can keep taking people on a journey, I'd love to work, be lovely to have even more budgets, even more time. The Ledge was a tight time scale to make this film. So I think it's, as long as I'm taking people on journeys and I'm having the ability to tell stories, I'm happy with that.
Awesome. And you proved that with making a film during the lockdown, which brings me to my next question. Now, you're one of the creators that took the initiative during the lockdowns with the lockdown hauntings. Has there been anything that you learnt during that pandemic period that you'll take forward?
Yeah, there is, and it's a great question, actually. I have to say, with the lockdown hauntings, this is the thing, compared to, I literally had no crew, so that was all filmed in, even though I did tracking shots, I did all the things that I felt films should have, and lit it, did the sound, everything else. There was no one else. I just drove around the country. It was like the Amiga man driving around the country, kit full of car full of kit, and I learnt on that process to just understand what I need to grab a shot quickly and move on. So the weird thing was from doing that when I got to make The Ledge, which was straight after, within a couple of months, that had a crew of like 64 people, fantastic team, but so many people. And I was like, do we need all these people? Actually, they were great, but it kind of taught me what is the bare bones of what do I need to get this shot? In other words, even if I had 50 people around me, even if I had 100 people, what do I really need in this moment? If I've got everything I need right now, then I can hit the button and I can keep moving forward. Because, with my brother and I, one thing making movies like The Dead, which, nearly killed us several times over, and all sorts of horror stories about the making of those movies. These things in movie terms can slow you down, can stop you. So it helped me to have a forward motion, if that makes any sense at all, just to don't let anything stop me from getting the next shot, from moving forward. If everyone's gone to lunch, I'll take it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember speaking to Viana about you. She's a friend of mine. About you going cross country with a bunch of kit in your car.
Yes, it was madness, total madness. And that was the other thing that, and Aviana's great. And there's sort of so many people in the lockdown hauntings. It was an opportunity to work with new people. And there are people I want to work with going forward. Unfortunately, I killed half of them off or more in that film. So, if I make a sequel, I'm not sure everyone can come back unless they are ghosts. There's another angle on it. But yes, it was great working with, that was the thing for the actors on the lockdown hauntings as well, different to The Ledge. There was no one for them to play to. In other words, it's a weird one because there was no one else in the room. So it's sort of spooky scenes were kind of slightly odd and spooky in their own way because it was almost real, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what is your preferred genre, and do you have any favorite films?
Yeah, I mean, well, my preferred genre is I have to say, I do like brutal thrillers. You know, I mean, I like to edge into horror, and I'm embracing the, you know, some horror elements in a new film I'm doing starting on Monday called Russian Roulette, which it is a thriller, sort of Seven meets Saw type film, and I'm probably not allowed to say much more than that, but it is, you know, it's got pace. I like things. I think I like things where I don't just want to do horror to see a lot of blood and to see, you know, I don't mind a lot of blood if it's relevant to the story, but I don't just want to do that. I want to have stories that have some kind of kineticism and have some kind of energy. I like to mix the action with the horror. So I think you know, those are the type of films I like. Weirdly, my favorite movies, it's just, you know, I might embarrass myself here because okay, The Sixth Sense that's not embarrassing. The Sixth Sense is one of my favorite movies still. I think that was very close to directorially near perfect. You might hate me for this. I love movies like the Titanic too. So I still love, you know, even some of the things some people might consider cheesy. I think I like small detail with large scale. You know, like, you know, you know, it's unusual for me to have an interview like this to talk about the Titanic, but I liked the fact that it was this huge ship, but then we were interested in how's he going to get his handcuff off, or, you know, there was a tiny bit of detail amongst a huge canvas. I'm attracted to those things.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. And there's nothing wrong with liking Titanic.
No,
it's a good film. You've obviously worked with a great group of talent. We mentioned Viana. You've also worked with another friend of mine, Angela, and
Andrew Dixon, fantastic.
Angela Dixon, and Emily Haig is another friend of mine.
Emily Haig, yeah, I think these are, you know, all stars in their own right.
Absolutely. Do you have a wish list of who you'd like to work with?
Do you know, that wish list is being added to all the time, and I probably shouldn't give it out now, but this is the funny thing. This casting thing is a thing that's happening all the time. As in, I mean, there's literally notes. I mean, some of my drawers at my office has random stuff like, get that guy who hit that guy over the head in that film, you know, or whatever, you know, a weird list of stuff. I can't even remember the name of the person, but it's someone who I thought, oh, they did that well, or they're nice, or I met them and I thought they were nice, or I saw them and are decent. Then you have these lists, and every now and then there's a reason to scrub someone off the list for some story that you've been told or something like that. But yeah, absolutely, there is a sort of these are some known people and there's some unknown people. I probably won't give you the names because that would be a random thing. But yes, absolutely is the answer. That
awesome.
Ever growing that list. It's fascinating casting. People don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but we're all talking, you know, and everyone asks me, what's that person like to work with, and what's that person like? So it's great when you can give a fantastic reference and try and help someone's career forward as well.
Yeah, awesome. And on the flip side of that, you've also worked with some legends like Tony Todd. So
Tony Todd, yeah. Oh man, yes, thank you. And he was such Tony Todd, which I couldn't believe when I was doing the lockdown. I was like, why, you know, I sat there actually. It shows you how you can kind of almost manifest things to happen. Because I sat down and I thought, I need someone for this film who is a horror. What would be right, but very contrasting to what I'm doing? And it's like, oh, Tony Todd. I thought, I wonder, let's give his manager a try. And then, you know, I was actually surprised I was able to get him. But we're really friendly now, and we're talking about, we're definitely going to do another film. I want to be in the room with Tony, and because we did his stuff by Zoom in the lockdown.
Yeah.
A few characters were by Zoom. He was one because he was in Los Angeles. We're definitely going to do a film. There's stuff brewing there as well. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, another collaboration with Tony, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So look into the future. What does the future hold for The Ledge?
Yes, well, The Ledge is, again, it obviously comes out on Monday, so fingers crossed, and Signature releasing it. So hopefully people will, you know, enjoy coming up the mountain with us, being taken somewhere a little different. And if that works out, then there are more films in that kind of female-led thrillers that are brutal in nature as well, take people on a bit of a journey. And actually, I'm very excited to be re-teaming with producer Fred Hedman from The Ledge, and also the writer Tom Boyle. We've got another script called Damaged. I believe that's probably as much as I'm allowed to say. That. So that's the film after this next one called Russian Roulette.
Okay.
On Monday. That's the next one. Then after that, there's this other film brewing that looks like we're casting for it at the moment. So there, fingers crossed, there'll be some exciting names in that too.
Is Damaged going to be a female-led, or?
It is going to be a female-led, but it has solid male roles as well. They're not all psychopaths as well.
Well, that's good to hear, because we're not all psychopaths.
We're not. You make a very good point, though. Actually, it's like because I've seen this type of thing being talked about, and I'm never saying that. I'm never saying that. There are decent people out there, decent guys out there, and we should not overlook them. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It is the movie world. You have to be extreme.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. So with the popularity of streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus and Shudder, who you work with quite often, I think.
Yeah.
And them obviously being the lifeline over the last couple of years. What do you think the future of cinema is?
Another great question. Well, the thing is, and again, reaffirming it today, I mean, I think it's one of those things that there are dangers to cinema, absolutely. And I think a lot more films, and it's already happening, isn't it, that they're going straight to streaming. And whilst there is an absolute upside to that, because people do want more choice, they want to choose when they see something. If it's on at 8 p.m. and they have to drive and park and, this, that, the other, then it's a situation that, can we convince people to come back in? And I think what's happening with cinema is that I think, I say Hollywood, I guess I'm going to have to use that term. Are trying to make bigger things with more spectacle to get people to go, well, I've got to see this on the big screen because it's got gigantic explosions and people flying around and huge things like that. And I just worry a little bit that we are going to lose the subtlety in storytelling in cinema if we do that, because if we feel to get people in the cinema, we have to give them gigantic things, and we can't pause and we can't be serene in moments, and we can't think and allow our audiences to go on this gentle moment and then give them a roller coaster. I worry about it in that regard. I think absolutely more things are going to be going direct to streaming. But at the upside is more things are going to get made because of that as well, because they can make them on a certain budget level. That doesn't mean you have to spend 80 or 100 million on advertising and all of that. I don't know if I'm answering your question very well. I think cinema is absolutely under threat, and I think there will be more venues closing and more only being able to show big films rather than the indies. So if an indie movie is on, please go and see it if you can. Don't Absolutely. But at the same time, I'm grateful for everyone who watches The Ledge or legitimately downloads the movie to sit down and watch it, because if you do that, you at home are enabling us to make more movies. So there is an upside to it as well. There Absolutely. Is support from that side, and it
opens up more doors for you. As a creator, because not always because maybe that with budget constraints and all the rest of it, then you might not be able to get a cinema run for a film, but you could get it on streaming, which helps and just gets it all out there, gets the story out there.
You're absolutely right. It does. So it's opening a lot of doors in people's homes, isn't it? So otherwise you might not be able to get an audience at all. Your film may, if you only had cinema distribution, well, if it didn't make it, okay, there was a DVD, but I mean physical DVD. I love physical DVD, and I'm excited to hear we have a physical DVD of The Ledge 2, not The Ledge 2. Let's go Ledge 1 first. And I think that is, I don't know, from the 21st or something. It's a little bit after the, you probably have the dates more than I do. little bit after the 14th of March release. I still love the physical DVD. I love to have and hold a movie. You know, I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to that point where if DVD players were not sold, and I'm not going to take one to the rubbish dump and throw it, that thing has to be kept so I can keep physical DVDs. You know, if we ever make the Dead 3, I'm going to do a triple disc, even if we just own it.
Absolutely. So just finally, what are you hoping audience will take away from The Ledge when they see it from Monday?
Well, this is the thing. Just sit down and have a blast with it. Go on a, you know, we haven't set out to make Shawshank Redemption or, you know, anything like that. It is a movie in the genre that it is going to take you on a journey. Just sit and, you know, you've been stuck at home for a couple of years like we all have, you know, come along to a mountainous destination, you know, and some, you know, pretty edgy things are going to happen and pretty controversial things, you know, just go with it. And you know, here's the thing with The Ledge, you know, with my real life near-death situation and being up there and climbing, it's quite a hard one for action because you can't do for all out action. In some moments, you know, the mountain, I just want to take people there in the quiet moments as much as the action and the horrendous things that might go on. Just go with it, go on a journey, and yeah, it's a trip.
It is indeed. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. We'll look forward to everything else that you do. Those couple of films sound interesting that you've got coming up next.
Thank you, Marc.
Back to back.
Much appreciated.
So I'm sure I'll speak to you again before too long. So look after yourself, and yeah, congratulations with The Ledge and the success that it's already having up in Glasgow. Thank
you so much, Marc. Appreciate it, and appreciate everyone who checks out The Ledge. And see you again.
Speak to you again. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for more content next time.
Don't forget I tried to be nice!
Wakey, wakey, Kelly.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you round Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.